What if a single question could change your life forever? She was just a tired girl wiping tables in the silence of a near-empty diner. He was just a single dad grabbing a late-night coffee after a long shift. But what he asked her stunned her into silence. What happened next? It's a moment that touched hearts and changed lives. Backhand index pointing right before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories for more real, emotional, and inspiring stories every week. The clock ticked 11:48 p.m. The small diner near the highway was almost empty, save for the distant humming of the fridge and the quiet shuffling of plates. Madison, just 19, wiped down the fifth table for what felt like the 100th time. Her fingers were raw from detergent, her shoes soaked from the mop, and her heart heavy with thoughts no girl her age should carry. She wasn't supposed to be here. College had been the dream, art school, paintings, and galleries. But after her mom's cancer returned and the bills piled high, she dropped everything. Her sketchbook sat dusty in a box under her bed while she served coffee and burgers to strangers who barely looked her in the eye. The bell above the door jingled. Madison looked up. Another late-night customer. She forced a tired smile. It was a tall man, around 30 maybe, with a thick flannel jacket, calloused hands, and eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in days. A little girl with curly hair peeked from behind his leg. She wore oversized pajamas and held a small bunny plush close to her chest. "Booth okay?" Madison asked, gesturing toward the corner. He nodded. "Thanks." His voice was deep but gentle. "Do you still serve pancakes at this hour?" "Yeah," she smiled faintly, "pancakes don't sleep." He chuckled. "Perfect. One plate for her. Just coffee for me." As she walked back to the counter, Madison kept glancing at them. The man gently brushed his daughter's hair from her eyes, pouring syrup on her pancakes with care. He didn't eat, just watched her like she was the only thing keeping him going. Madison brought over the coffee. "She's cute," she said softly. He looked up. "She's my reason. My everything." There was a pause. The kind that carries 1,000 stories behind it. "I'm sorry," she said, stepping back. "Didn't mean to pry." "No," he said. "It's nice to talk to someone." After clearing the other tables, Madison slowly returned to their booth to wipe the next one beside it. The little girl was now curled up in the booth, fast asleep with her bunny on her chest. "She had a long day?" Madison asked gently. He looked at her, then nodded slowly. "Yeah. But she's strong. Stronger than me sometimes." Then came the question. A simple, curious question. But it hit Madison like thunder. He looked at her mop, her dish-stained apron, and then softly asked, "Do you ever want to be somewhere else?" Madison froze. Her hands stopped moving. Her eyes locked on his. It was such an ordinary question. Yet no one had ever asked her that. Not her boss. Not the customers. Not even her own family, too busy surviving to wonder about dreams. Her voice cracked. "Every single day." The man didn't respond right away. Instead, he sipped his coffee, then said, "What stops you?" Madison stared at the floor. "Reality. My mom's sick. Rent's due. I gave up art school because life doesn't wait for dreams." He nodded slowly, like he understood more than she knew. Life doesn't wait. But sometimes, people do. People who believe in you, even if they're strangers at first. That sentence sat in the air, like a quiet song only they could hear. He left her a generous tip, far more than a plate of pancakes deserved. But more than that, he left her with words she couldn't shake. Don't bury your dreams just because no one waters them. Sometimes all they need is light. She stood at the door, watching his truck drive off into the night. The little girl peeked from the window, waved sleepily. Madison waved back with a strange tightness in her throat. That night, for the first time in months, she pulled out her sketchbook again. 2 weeks had passed since the stranger walked in. His voice still echoed in her mind during her late shifts. Madison couldn't stop sketching. She would draw on napkins during breaks, or slip doodles into checkbooks. But life, as always, was complicated. Her mother's condition worsened. Hospital bills drained what little they had. Madison was on the edge of quitting even the diner to care for her full-time. One rainy night, she was cleaning up again when the manager handed her a letter. "This came for you," he said, puzzled. "No return address." Madison opened it slowly. Inside was a neatly folded piece of paper, and a business card. The note read, "I wasn't just another customer. My name is Daniel Walker. I'm a former art professor. Life took me away from that, but I never stopped recognizing talent when I see it. The sketches you left in the checkbook were incredible. I showed them to a friend who runs an art foundation. They want to see more. If you're willing, this card has the details. Take the leap. You're not alone." Her hands trembled. Tears welled up. That night replayed in her mind, the kindness, the question, the wave from a sleepy child. She rushed home, showed her mom, who, despite her frailty, smiled brighter than she had in weeks. With her mom's blessing, Madison emailed her best sketches. Days later, she received a response. "We want to sponsor your studies. Full scholarship. And your story touched us. You'll never clean tables again, unless it's at your own exhibition." It felt surreal. A simple question, a single moment, had turned her life. 6 months later, an art exhibition opened in New York City. Madison stood in a simple black dress, her paintings hanging proudly behind her. One caught everyone's eye, a little girl with a bunny plush, asleep in a diner booth, and a tired man with eyes full of love watching over her. The title of the piece? My Reason. A man approached her silently during the show. Madison turned, and there he was. Daniel Walker. In real clothes, not worn-out flannel. The little girl was with him, now wearing a sparkly dress and holding a sketchbook of her own. "She's been drawing too," he said, smiling. "Thanks to you." Madison teared up. "No. Thanks to you. You saw me when I didn't even see myself." They hugged. Not as strangers, but as souls connected by one night of kindness. One late shift. One tired single dad. One question. That's all it took to change everything. Backhand index pointing right. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories for more real, emotional moments that prove kindness truly changes lives.